Good day, everybody. Yesterday, the President of the United States passed a proclamation, an executive order, restricting travel and entry of foreign nationals of certain countries based on protecting Americans from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. So we wanted to release this and spend a few minutes to talk about it, share our thoughts for your benefit. I'm Sam Shihab with the law firm of Shihab Burke.
Brian Burke from Shihab Burke.
So this is a very deliberate drafting of the proclamation.
You and I, when we were talking about this earlier, we both got to the same point. It was a point in conversation. We made, that it's that they have. We might not like the content of it so much, but they have a very well drafted thing. And why is it so well drafted, Sam? Because they've been down this road before. During the prior Donald Trump administration, they started with a very broad, unspecific ban, and that got challenged in the courts. And then they revised it, and they found one that eventually stuck. And this is on the model of one that'll eventually stick, because all throughout this, there's such clear justifications as to why they are doing these things, saying we're not doing this arbitrarily.
Yeah, not only justification, but also the process.
Yeah, so how do we get here?
Yeah, so they highlight that we want to make sure that we are excluding people who do not intend to harm Americans or national interests of the United States before they enter the United States. They intend to bar people with hostile attitude towards our citizens, our culture, our institutions, founding principles, and do not advocate or aid or support designated foreign terrorists and other threats of our national security.
And they're banging the drum. That's immigration law right there,
However, the list is peculiar, and we'll talk about that in a second. But then he goes, and therefore the immigrant and non-immigrant entry into the United States of persons described in Section 2 and 3 of this proclamation would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, and that their entry should be subject to certain restrictions, limitations, and exceptions.
Ooh, yes. And the exceptions are important, and I think that's what anybody who's listening to this should stick around for, because the exceptions are really kind of important for us.
Yeah. Now, the countries.
Yeah.
So the full travel ban countries.
Yeah. I'll start. Yeah. Afghanistan. They call them sponsors of terror, and also they have issues with overstay of visas. Burma. I believe they say they don't have good information about the people coming from Burma due to the situation in that country. Chad, overstays. Republic of the Congo, overstays. Equatorial Guinea, high overstay rate. Eritrea, basically, we can't get criminal records. We can't vet the people coming from that country. Same thing with Haiti. That country has some major challenges in its government right now. We can't get good information from them. And Iran, sponsor of terror. Libya, not a functioning government. Somalia, not a functioning government, essentially. And Sudan, basically lacking. Sudan and Yemen, again, two more countries. We can't, part of issuing a visa is, can we talk to where these people are coming from? Can we get information about them to make sure they're not going to be trouble for us? And if they think your country is not functional to that end, that's a major reason why you get put on the no visas for anybody from this country list. No immigrants, no immigrants permanent, no temporary ones either. And
Myanmar.
Yeah, Myanmar. Oh, did I say Myanmar? Myanmar has sometimes called Burma. Same thing. They have a lot of things. They had a coup a couple years ago, which different strange things going on there. Yeah.
The partial restriction is Burundi.
Burundi, yes.
Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. That's a big country.
Yeah.
Now, I find it interesting that the incident a week ago, the terrorist attack a week ago in Colorado, was from an Egyptian national. Yeah. But Egypt was not on the list.
Very, very, very interesting.
Lebanon is not on the list. Yeah. Syria is not on the list. Yeah. So it's these Middle Eastern countries.
I'll highlight Syria for a second. I mean, that's a country that has had a change in government, to say the least, in the last couple of years, and apparently they have trust there.
Apparently last week, all the U.S. ban economic ban to Syria was lifted by the U.S. And there was an in-person meeting between the two presidents, between the United States president and the Syrian president in Saudi Arabia. So there is this, I'm going to give you an opportunity to make things right, and there's a trust there.
So let's let's dive into the nature of the partial ban. So for the first countries on the list, all the ones we talked about previously, no visas. Now, for the partial suspension countries, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, Venezuela, it's a ban on B's, F's, M's, and J visas.
So the B meaning visitor visa for business, visitor visa for pleasure.
Yep.
Not available for these countries.
Yep.
Student visas, there are two types. Really, there are three types.
Yeah.
F, M, and J.
No more.
Yeah, and J visa is more than that, so it can work for also professionals coming in, exchange visitor program. That is not even available for the partial ban countries.
Yeah.
Okay, exception.
So for me, I read this last night. I know you did it. You did as well, and the part that sort of had me most worried is about so many cases. I'm doing family cases from at least two of the countries on the permanent ban list, maybe three, and I was very much worried. I have some mandamus actions going on behalf of Somalis, for example, and I was very much worried about, are those cases going to be permanently dead due to an executive order? And here it is. And here's the best exception. So basically, there's an exception for immediate family immigrant visas, IR1, CR1, et cetera, with clear and convincing evidence of identity and family relationship. So I have a couple cases right now sponsoring spouses from Somalia, and I have long, complex cases with mandamus actions in them. I was very worried about the executive order coming. I'm feeling really good about that. It's
now any of the countries. There is no ban on if they're staying here in the United States to apply for adjustment of status. So there's no ban about regarding anybody in the U.S.
This is
be clear.
Important exception is this ban doesn't apply to permanent residents, people who we've already essentially vetted, any dual nationals.
So U.S. permanent residents who are from these countries who are outside the United States can re-enter the U.S.
Yes.
So to be very clear, that's the interpretation.
Sure.
And do not have a valid visa on the applicable effective date of this proclamation.
Yeah. So if you already have a B visa from one of these, and you're from one of these countries, that B visa, for example, should still be active.
Right? Dual nationals. Any dual nationals, if you are from this country and let's say a national of another country that's not on the ban, that's fine. I'm assuming you are expected to use the other country's entry document.
Passport, to apply for your visa,
So I'm going to have to also say that the exemptions are very reasonable and not overly cumbersome. So this proclamation, I am going to find it very difficult to find a judge that will declare it illegal.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, the very first thing you and I said when we said this is, wow, it's very thoughtfully drafted, and honestly, the immediate relative exception
is huge.
It's so huge for me. I don't really care that much about this anymore.
No ban on diplomatic visas or NATO visas. No ban on athletes coming in for the Olympics. And as you said, the big one, no ban on immediate family members. And then a few other categories like Afghan special immigrants and special
adoptions,
immigrants, et cetera. So that is the ban. And that's the information we have. Of course, there will going to be a legal challenge. I doubt that this legal challenge will stick. I think this one is here to stay. Now, here is a conclusion or a thought I have. I think this list will change. And they have mentioned that this list can change.
There is, if we dig deeper into this beyond what anybody's interested in right now, they say we can reevaluate these things. And part of the talk in here was there are countries that were going to be on here, and you moved yourself from the total ban list to the basically we appreciate the efforts, and you should continue trying to make efforts to meet our standards because these things can change.
And I'm thinking that this is the first rolling out to see how the court is going to receive this. I think this will be significantly expanded in the next 6 months.
You mean to more countries?
Yes. because that allows for them to add more countries. But what they wanted to do, and that's my speculation, what they wanted to do is roll out a very limited list, in which is solid list, with solid documentation.
Get your precedent and then...
And see what the court react to this, because they don't want to come out with their master list. Remember, the original list was 40 countries.
Yeah, and this is not 40 countries. Do we have a total on how many here? But it's like
12 and 8, 20.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And therefore, I think they're coming out with the unequivocally cannot be challenged list.
Yeah.
And they're going to wait and to see what the court's going to do with this one. And I think once they get that first punch from the court and get a feedback, I think the real list will be coming out.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. I mean, you're right. If you read through this order, they basically highlight, here are the high overstay rates for these countries, and that's why they're justifying this. And all they have to do is find those justifications for other countries, more or less. Yeah.
That's it from us. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys, and we will keep you posted. And our next session is
Monday, 6 p.m. Where is this? This is a special one for us.